Women's Business Owners Network Vice President, National Association of Women Business Owners President-elect, Holcutt Baptist Church Women's Ministry Director. Dr. Rita Renee is an international keynote speaker, author of 8 books, and the founder of Ultimate Powerhouse Coach, where she helps women step out of the shadows and speak with authenticity, authority, and without apology. With over 34 years of experience in nursing and leadership, including 2 decades in corporate healthcare, she combines professional expertise with a deep faith foundation to empower women to thrive in both business and life. As a TEDx speaker and women's ministry director, she is passionate about mentoring women to embrace their God-given voice and calling. And let me just tell you, after having one conversation, I know that this woman walks her talk. After one conversation, she is the reason I am stepping into my calling and not continuing to ask to be on a stage, but have now created my own with an event I'm hosting this Saturday, Becoming Her, the Wife God Called. It's because Dr. Rita challenged me to stop asking for permission when I can just create my own. And so, thank you, Dr. Rita, for that. And I'm excited for what you all will hear from her in our conversation. What a way to kick off Season 2, Episode 1. Welcome to 2026. Here we go. Welcome to She Leads Boldly, the podcast for faith-driven women navigating high-stakes leadership without compromising what matters most. I am Sharika Sanders, your host, mentor, and kingdom business leader. Here, we embrace bold leadership rooted in purpose, not pressure. This space is for the woman who refuses to choose between faith and ambition, family and fulfillment, impact and rest. Each week, you'll hear powerful conversations, practical strategies, and spirit-led wisdom to help you advocate for yourself, lead with integrity, and rise without burnout. If you're ready to lead boldly, live faithfully, and never settle for less than what God has promised, you're in the right place. So, thank you again, Dr. Rita. I'm giddy, I'll use that phrase, but really excited for our conversation because just from the last talk or conversation that you and I had, which was our first time even meeting, you poured into me in that conversation. And so I can only imagine what's about to go down in this one.
I'm excited to be here with you.
Yes. So you have an amazing background. You've built a great platform, but one of the things that sticks out are all the different areas where you are leading and leading boldly and leading with Christ. And you said something that is honestly the foundation of what I work on and the women that I work with, and I think really should just be the root of all of our lives as we look to lead boldly in all of the different areas and aspects of life. And that is success at home and success in leadership are not enemies. It is possible to build both when Christ is your foundation.
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
We can end the recording right there. Like that. If you could give us a little bit more about that, because so many just don't. I feel like so many women feel like they have to sacrifice one for the other. I can't have my faith if I'm going to be successful in the workplace. I can't raise my family or be fully present for my family if I'm going to be successful in the workplace. And if I'm going to be successful in the church, then I need to let one of these other things go. And so I would love to hear more on that.
So first of all, any success that we have, and especially as believers, I'm just gonna talk as we're talking to women who are believers, who are Christians in the faith, and understand that relationship that we have with our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I'll start with that. And for us, the success can look different, right? It looks
Hmm.
different because we understand that whatever we do, we're going to give him glory, right? And so the
Hmm.
Lord will put you in places, right? In places with connection with people, organizations, corporations, so that your light can be shined through that.
Yeah.
Now, is it easy all the time? No, it's not. But I feel like, and I have tried this, and it has been true for me, that no one can take the success from you if it's already preordained and predestined for you to have. And so you have to hang on to that. You cannot
Hmm.
compromise your values because that immediate success, like that microwave success, if you do
Hmm.
compromise, is something that is not going to last. The success that you have with your faith is the one that's going to sustain you throughout and to help you leave a legacy.
Absolutely. And I don't know why, and I say we because I was definitely that person when I was in the corporate space, the one who felt like I have to do all the things, I have to be all the places, I have to like wearing hats that weren't even mine to put on and wear, honestly. And definitely that person who wanted to be respected in the boardroom for my position as a female, and particularly one who looks like me, and all of that. So almost like, okay, I have to bring my representative in, and bring in my representative. You can't really talk about your faith like that. And when you all go out to lunch, you can say your little prayer inside to yourself, but nobody else needs to know. And not realizing how big of a disservice and
Yes.
how much disrespect that is to God, because you wouldn't be there without him.
Absolutely. I'll share a kind of transition on how my leadership role with Christ has, brought me from the beginning of my nursing career. I advanced from bedside nursing, then as a clinical manager. And then in that role, I was entrusted with leading teams of diverse backgrounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
High
Mm-hmm.
stake, high pressure environment,
Yes.
balancing the need of patients, families, and staff. And it was at that time when I first saw how leadership is less about titles and more about serving,
Mm-hmm.
stewardship, and creating an atmosphere where others can thrive. And over time, God expanded my leadership, calling
Yeah.
me beyond healthcare and worlds of business and ministry and women's leadership. But today, I'm not just a coach because of that platform or that training that I was put in initially in my
Right.
career. I believe that was a training period for me. So now that I can mentor entrepreneurs, and I do that under Ultimate Powerhouse Coach, but I
Yeah.
serve as, director in women's ministry and how that came about. And I'm telling you, we transitioned from Colorado to North Carolina in
Wow.
2019, didn't know anybody. And at the time, we were looking for a church, and we found a church. I've been at the church for going on 3 years, 3 years this month. And just recently,
Mhm.
they asked me to be the director of the women's ministry. We
Amazing.
have to see ourselves being faithful in serving.
Amazing. Mm-hmm.
We have to be faithful in serving. And then
Mm-hmm.
those opportunities will open up to you. And a lot of times we feel like, there is some competition in the corporate world. There is. And
Mm-hmm.
you do have to kind of prove yourself. You got to show
Mm-hmm.
that you're accountable and all that. And you have to have the skills and the knowledge, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also, people look at the service. They will invest in you, even if you're not, let's say, I'm not going to say you're not qualified at a level, but you have the potential to be at a certain level. If
Yes.
they
Mm-hmm.
see your hard work, they will invest in you to train
Right.
you to be at that level where you should be at.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I'm a testament to that in my own life, in a
Hmm.
background in corporate accounting. And for me, a lot of people, there's this stigma of, you know, we want people who went to this type of university, this level of education and all of these different things. And I didn't fit the mold in a lot of different ways.
Right.
I have a degree, but I graduated from DeVry. I didn't graduate from, I'm in Georgia. So UGA, Georgia
Right.
Tech, one of, the traditional 4-year universities. And so that plus many other things already had stigmas, but it was my hard work, but it was also the favor that
Mhm.
I had on my life, and having to recognize that, and that as long as I showed up as that servant leader,
Mm.
when I started managing other people and teams, I tell people all the time, I could ask them for anything. They it was no problem. And a lot of times I didn't even have to ask. They would be like, "You here, so we here." But it was because they knew that we were working towards something. It wasn't about
Exactly.
title, it wasn't about telling somebody what to do, but it was about what can we do? Because the fact is, as long as I support them, then I don't have to worry about looking good because they're going to make sure that that happens.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
we get so caught up in trying to prove, prove, prove. And one of the biggest things I tell people about me when I was in that space is I didn't know who I was. They
Mhm.
knew who I was. They saw it, but I didn't see it in myself. And because of that, they took advantage of it. And they would say things like, to prove yourself and to make sure you're getting in front of the right people. These are all the things that you should do, while piling more and more on my plate. And I'm like, yep, that's right. I should. Yep, that'll get me. And those people already saw me. They already knew me. They were already looking at me. I was already getting the bonuses, already getting the recognition, but I wasn't tapped in to my true source.
Mhm. Absolutely. We talked about this before we initiated this conversation about that has to be for believers.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't say that for everyone, but for believers, that has to be our central foundation. And everything
Yes.
that we do, we have to have integrity. We have to walk in positive character. We have to display that light and that humbleness to serve
Mm-hmm.
and the willingness to be a student. Even though
Yeah.
we may come with a bunch of knowledge, we
Mm-hmm.
still have to have that humility to humble ourselves to be even to be taught and
Mm-hmm.
to serve. And a lot of people don't look at that. They go after the titles, they go after the pay grade, but you want to go after the service because that's what's going to keep you going. If you know you have that compassion, that's why I became a nurse because I knew I had that compassion to help people. So no matter
Mm-hmm.
how hard it got, it wasn't the money that drove me, it wasn't the title that drove me, it was the compassion that I had that was given to me that I believe God gave me in order to do his will on earth. And then
Yeah.
everything else flowed in business. So I'm able to have that compassion in business and everything else that I do.
Hey, sis, can we pause for a quick moment? If you've been feeling that tug to go deeper, to become the wife God actually called you to be, not just the one the world expects, I have something special for you. Join me on January 10th, 2026 for Becoming Her, the Wife God Called, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. It's a day designed for ambitious, faith filled wives and moms and wives in waiting to reconnect with God's pace, surrounded by powerful speakers, luxury gift bags, amazing food, and a sisterhood that gets it. Tickets are just $50, but seats are limited. And trust me, they'll go fast. And if you're a brand or business that believes in empowering women of faith, there are sponsorship opportunities available too. So don't wait. Head to Transform the Gap, that's GAAP.com, click events to grab your ticket or learn more about partnering with us. Now let's get back to today's episode. And that's amazing. And the second part of that, which another one, like I would definitely say towards the end of my time in corporate into and now even into entrepreneurship, God really has just opened my eyes into so many errors of my ways, honestly, and putting me where I'm supposed to be. Because another thing that you said, guard your family as your first ministry. No platform or opportunity is worth losing those closest to you. And
Yeah.
I will say it because I know I did it. I was the first one. if the job called, it was like I was the first responder for accounting. If they called, everything else was dropped. Everything else took a back burner. But the fact is, they could also call and be like, you know what, we're good. You can go home, you can pack up your stuff. And it's those same people that we neglect are now the ones that we're counting on, or the ones who have to comfort us, or the ones who have to
Right.
be there for us. But they were the same ones we neglected for what?
Right. You have to keep those boundaries because those, even in corporate America, and it's all about communicating and having conversation, whether you're a believer or not. It's all about
Hmm.
communicating what's going on, not telling your personal business. You don't have to share all that, but what your responsibilities are in creating those boundaries.
Yeah.
And don't overextend yourself. We have to have the power and the capability of saying, it's not no, never, is no, just not right now. Or
Yeah.
how can we compromise? We have lost compromising skills in the workplace, and that often helps as well. And then you can incorporate your family and say, we're working on this particular project. It's going to take this amount of time, and I
Mhm.
may be away from this amount of time. What can we do to work together so there's nothing missed? Because especially if you have children, you want to
Mhm.
keep that cohesiveness with your family. So
Mhm.
family is very important. That's your first ministry. That's I mean, if you have a spouse, you answer to your spouse, you answer to
Mhm.
your family and your responsibilities. Because at the end of the day, you can have all that money, but if you don't have your family, you don't have the people around you
Right.
that love you, those relationships are real relationships. These other relationships are just connections and partnerships to get us to
Yes.
the next level.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And just to clarify to the woman who's listening and thinking,
Mhm.
because I'm sure it was me. Had I been listening to this conversation 3 years ago, even, I probably would have been like, well, that doesn't apply to me because I show up at all the games. I pick up or drop off or whatever I need to do for practices. There when they get up, like they see me, but they also see me staying up till 2 o'clock in the morning working. They also see me spending every weekend. I just need to get online for a little bit. They also see me checking emails, you know, during the
Right.
games and all of this other stuff, or when we're on vacation. So you made a great point about setting those boundaries. It is okay to step away and be like, you know what? I'm not available.
Right.
The world is not going to end. They are still going to keep the ball rolling. Like it is absolutely okay. Or, like you said, setting those boundaries. You know what? During this time, I'm not available. However, if you need me on these days or during this time, or if it's a high priority project or something
Mm-hmm.
going on and you're going on vacation, okay, you can have me during this time, but then after this, then I have to really dedicate that time to my family. So it's not just like, saying I'm out, but really just making sure you speak up for yourself, advocate for yourself, and getting those boundaries established. And in our conversation and from the things you said, I always like to provide scriptural reference.
Yes.
And one of the things that the scripture that came up for me from our conversations, 1 Timothy 3, 4, and 5, which says, he must manage his household well and with all dignity, keeping his children submissive. For if someone does not know how to manage his own household, how will he care for God's church?
Absolutely. You cannot pour out from an empty vessel. And the first
Amen.
people that you should be pouring into is your family. That's
Yes.
first. So everything that you're working on does not get the same amount of time, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Balance isn't about giving everything the same amount of time. You don't give a certain project more time than you will give your family.
Mm-hmm.
You have
Mm-hmm.
to prioritize, your even your empty time, even your quiet time. All those things have to be prioritized. And so one of the things I suggest, well, always is recommendation. You have to center each and every one of your days with prayer and a scripture. Each and that sets the tone, your mindset, all of that. And
Mm-hmm.
the one thing that you actually mentioned, you have to have rest.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have rest. You have to guard at least take some time for yourself so that you can be the best
Yep.
employee or the best manager or the best
Mhm.
CEO of your company. So you can
Yes.
be the best mom, the best wife. And I'm even working on it. I'm preaching to myself too. Okay. I'm
Hmm.
talking to myself too.
Uh-huh.
I'm talking to myself because that's very important because if you're failing in your health, if you're failing in your patience, if you're failing in your remembrance and recall knowledge and all that, you're not being wholly into what you're in and
Yeah.
you're not going to be a benefit to anyone. And you're not helping the company. And guess what they're going to do? The company is going to get the person that's able to get them to where they need to go and
Right.
make sure they complete their goals, right?
Right.
And then
Mm.
you have to make sure that your family is like non-negotiable, like family dinners. Now,
Yeah.
one of the things, my sons are getting big and we have this round table. We really can't fit around that table right now, but we try to eat around the same time. We the couches need a table.
Uh-huh.
I have that family time, especially with my husband. We even put calendar dates on our calendar
Hmm.
to spend, make sure I'm taking the day off, I'm whatever, I'm carving out this time
Yeah.
because your family, just as much as you give your projects and your boss attention,
Yeah.
you need to give that same attention to your
Yes.
family. And so
Hmm.
many, unfortunately, especially divorces are in, churches because there's so much split in time, right? You get
Hmm.
a lot of busy work, right? Not
Hmm.
just in corporate, but you have all these things that you're doing in the church, right?
Right. Right.
That time too, sometimes you have to say no to your leadership because your
Hmm.
family is your first ministry.
Yes.
Keeping
That's
Christ
right.
centered.
That's right.
I mean, that's the only way you're going to be able to make it. And there's nothing wrong. I want to say this as a caveat to women who are believers and they have a business because I'm gonna be transparent right now. My husband told me one time I was just doing so many things, and he said, I wish that one day that you would appreciate just being a wife. Now, he
Oh,
didn't tell
wow.
me he didn't want me to stop doing what I was doing.
Right.
But that was his way of saying, hey, you pouring a lot of attention, a lot of energy, a lot of resources in this other thing, but we are here for you. So
Yeah.
as women, there's nothing wrong. You may want to start a business right now and you may feel, but it's okay that you're being a wife, you're being a mother. Never
Hmm.
look
Hmm.
down on that precious position that God has given us as women.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's that shows a level of trust because we are his children, but so are our children. And so
Yes,
he's trusting us to take care of them and to steward them well. And so that is a major level of authority. It's a major level of responsibility. And we shouldn't take that lightly. And for those entrepreneurs, when speaking about entrepreneurs and ladies, please make sure you go to ultimatepowerhousecoach.com and reach out to Dr. Rita because I mean, first of all, we're getting these jewels here now. Just imagine, working with her and what you'll hear and experience. But I was one who left corporate and brought a lot of those same bad habits
Mhm.
to entrepreneurship when it was supposed to have been my time to really work as a CEO of my business and not the solopreneur and managing my time and making sure that I gave attention and time and love and all of the things to my family and those around me. And I took a lot of those bad habits with me. And so God was like, you know what? I'm okay. We're going to try this one more time. And I was diagnosed with the early stage breast cancer. And I will say that God carried me through that
Mhm.
experience and really, really like my experience versus so many other women. Like a lot of times I wouldn't even talk about it because I hear some of the things that they had to go through and how I was just so covered in mine. But what it made me and forced me to do was take that rest, to sit down somewhere and really give time to Him, acknowledge Him, reset, and start over. Because, first of all, it's biblical, Sabbath rest. It is a commandment. He says, he tells us to rest. And someone told me, and I thought that was so profound. They said, what nerve do we have to think we are more important than God? And I was like, what? And they were
Yeah,
like, he rested. He worked 6 days and rested on that seventh day. So how are you so much more important than God where you can't even take a day off, where you are needed every day? Like, who are you? And I was like, oh, wow.
I love that. I love that because
Mhm.
that show when we rest, we're showing God that we trust Him enough to
Yes.
stop what we're doing, and
Yes.
then nothing is going to stop the progress of our journey.
That's right.
I love that.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And when they said that, I was like, you're right. Like, who am I? Who do we think we are? Where we have to
Mm,
be everything to everybody. We're not. We absolutely are not. And so, but we get so caught up in that. And that's also when he can pour into us and when he can speak and give us instruction, direction, new ideas, insight, all of these different things. When we just sit down and really say, Lord, speak to
mhm.
me. Your servant is listening.
Absolutely. One of the things that have captured us in doing that, that hustle and bustle is the boss chick
Mm,
theology.
mm-hmm.
Man,
Mm-hmm.
I do not like, I'm not gonna say I hate. I do not like that. We equate success with
Right.
constant hustling and bustling
Yes.
and chasing the
Mm-hmm.
bag and all this other stuff. And that is not what we were created to do. We must
Mm-hmm.
remember that our very highest calling is first Christ, and
Yes.
then our family, communities that He's entrusted with us. So,
Mm-hmm.
true success is not found in sacrificing our marriages, our children, our peace, our joy, our peace of mind for titles or applause. It's
Yeah.
found in walking faithfully in what God has called us to do. And we have to always remember that because He's given us this time and we have to be better stewards than what we have
Mm-hmm.
been. I mean, I'm guilty of that. And I want women all over to hear that, you can lead powerfully without losing your family. There's so
Yeah.
many people that have walked away from their family because they felt like this person is holding me back and
Yep.
all this. And this is a lie from the pits of hell. It's just a lie
Mm-hmm.
from the enemy. God has
Mm-hmm.
given us a voice without laying aside who we are and the heart that He has given us.
Absolutely. You're so right. It is this. They're holding me back. They don't want me. Let me be great.
Right. Remember they used to say, y'all, we slaying and we do. I said, Lord have mercy, help us, help your children, Lord.
And those listening, you all know what we're talking about.
Right.
And we're not perfect. I still find myself sometimes I have to catch myself because I may be
Hmm.
talking to another parent and they're like, "Oh, I'm so busy. Oh, I'm so tired. I had to go do this and I had to do that." And it's almost like a competition. And then you jump in, "Oh, yeah, I had to do this, and I had to go over here and I still
Right.
need to." I mean, and it's like, okay, so who got the cookie? Like, what is the reward from now you tired?
Right, exactly. Social media has a lot to play with that too. We compare ourselves to other people,
Mhm,
what they're doing.
mhm.
But listen, we have a race that we run, and this
Yeah.
race, hopefully, if the road is supposed to take us straight to heaven, it is if
Mhm.
we stay on the right road. And so
Right.
our competition is not each other. We're here to compliment and embrace each other and encourage each other. And I'm not trying to discourage anyone from becoming a benefit, but you have to count the cost and you have to have those conversations with your family.
Yes. Yes. Show them that they matter, that they are your
Absolutely.
first, after God, they are your first love.
Yes. Yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
absolutely. Dr. Rita, I so thank you for your time. And um, I'm gonna pause here because I know I can go and start running my mouth and going and all of these gems that you're dropping and just from the things that you were saying before. Oh my goodness. But please, we referenced your website earlier, but please let everyone know how they can reach out to you if there's anything coming up. I think this is a great conversation for us kicking off the year for those who thought, oh, this is my year. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to hustle. Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Well, before I give you that information, I just want to leave your audience with a couple of things. And number
Yes.
one is your identity is rooted in Christ, not in culture labels.
Mm.
Number two, success at home and success in leadership are not your enemies, as we talked about. Guard your family as your first ministry.
Mhm.
Pace yourself with grace, because
Mhm.
we fall, and we already told you all how we still on this race and we still struggling, right?
Right.
But lead with love and not with pressure. Lead with love and not with pressure. And you can reach me on all social media at Dr. Rita Renee.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Amazing. Ladies, I hope you finish the conversation and then go back and listen again because I'm sure you probably missed something. But if nothing else, I pray that this encouraged you all to trust God even more, to rest, to reset, and truly just put it in His hand. Let Him work for you. Let Him show you. Let God be God and take your hands out of it. Stop feeling like you need to do all the things to make things happen. Because if you just step back and do what is within your power, not all the extra, not all the running around, not all the hustle and bustle, not the, oh, I'll get a couple of hours of sleep, but I'll be fine. No, you won't. Really, truly give it to God and allow Him to show you just how good He is.
Amen.
And so, Dr. Rita, I'm giving you a whole nother name. Dr. Rita, thank you so much for your time, your guidance, your words of wisdom, your service and servanthood, leadership, all the things. And not by, but absolutely until next time. Hey, friend, if this episode stirred something in you, don't keep it to yourself. Make sure you subscribe to She Leads Boldly so you never miss an episode. And let's stay connected. Join our growing community of faith driven powerhouse women where you'll find real talk, encouragement, and tools to fuel your journey. Oh, and I've created something special just for the bold, faith driven women like you, an ebook, When You Know His Name. Discover identity, intimacy, and the power of prayer through the names of God. This ebook is designed to equip and encourage you to lead with clarity, courage, and conviction in every space God assigns you to. Available now on Amazon. And if you're ready for deeper clarity, I would love to personally walk with you. I offer a one-on-one session called Your Path to Purpose and Power, and it's to help you break through the overwhelm and realign with what God is actually calling you to in this season. Whether it's burnout, boundaries, or fresh vision, you don't have to figure it out alone. All links are in the show notes. Oh, and one last thing. I would love to hear from you. What questions are you carrying this season? What topics would serve your walk, your work, your womanhood right now? Send me a message or an email because this podcast is for you, and I want every episode to speak directly to where you are. Remember, you don't have to choose between your faith, your family, and the calling on your life. God's grace makes room for it all. So until next time, stay anchored in purpose, covered in grace, and always ready to rise. Talk soon, friend.